Good afternoon, everyone. So, last class we were seeing about counters. So, we saw what a counter is and how it is basically classified. So, I asked you to have in mind synchronous and asynchronous sequential circuits are entirely something different compared with that of asynchronous and synchronous counters. So in case of synchronous and asynchronous sequential circuit, we will be generally saying about the application of clock and the basic elements involved in it. Whereas with respect to counters, both the counters are going to have flip-flops. The way it is being clocked, we classify it as asynchronous and synchronous counters. So that you need to have in mind. And with respect to that, we saw different ripple counters, 4-bit binary ripple counter and BCD ripple counter. Then the extension of it, the 3-decade BCD ripple counter, all those we saw. And corresponding timing diagram of those counters also we saw in it. And then we saw the design of synchronous sequential circuit, because that would always help you with designing any type of circuit, be it a counter or anything else. So we saw the design procedure for it. So we saw this design example the other day. I am leaving the second one for you to see it. So you are given with the state diagram. Here actually the flip-flop inputs we have to fill it. You are given only with the present state input and the next state. The corresponding flip-flop inputs we should fill it and then find the flip-flop input equation, that is equation for JAKA, JBKB. That means this circuit actually employs two flip-flops and the inputs are named as JAKA and JBKB, whereas the corresponding state output is A and B respectively. So for that you need to find the expressions and then draw the logic diagram. So we shall see the third example. So here you are given with a state diagram. This is nothing but a 3-bit binary counter, because it goes through the sequence 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So here with respect to counters, generally you won't be having any external input. It will be just the sequence that follow. So we shall see this first. And in general for counters, we normally use T flip-flop or JK flip-flop. You can very well use D flip-flop also, unless otherwise it is mentioned explicitly. Okay, but generally it is a good thing to use T flip-flop or JK flip-flop for design of counters. So let us see this counter design first. So this is our 3-bit binary counter. So this is the state diagram given to you, and we are going to implement this using T flip-flop. Okay, so first, as state diagram is given, let us write the state table. So here, first thing you need to notice, here you are having total of 8 states, right? So if you are having 8 states, the number of flip-flops, so converting this in powers of 2, this is nothing but 2 power 3, right? So you need 3 flip-flops to implement this state diagram. Okay, well? So first let us write the state table. So the present states. So let us write this as A, B and C. And the next state A, B, C. Next state A, B and C. And now we are going to design this using T flip-flops. So we need to find the flip-flop input equation. So for that we need the corresponding flip-flop input. Let us denote them as TA, TB and TC. Okay. Now if my present state is 0, so from this the next state is 1. So 0, 0, 1. Next, if the present state is 1, the next state is 0, 1, 0. If the present state is 0, 1, 0, next state is 0, 1, 1. Likewise, you have to go right till you reach the initial state. Okay. So 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1. And for 1, 1, 1, the corresponding next state is 0, 0, 0. After this whole thing is going to repeat. So we will stop it here. Now we have to write the T flip-flop input. So we know if the present state and next state value does not change, the T value is going to be 0. So we will compare the present state A with next state A, present state B with next state B, and present state C with next state C. Correspondingly, we will fill the T inputs, TA, TB, and TC. Okay. So first you have 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. For first three values of A in the present and next state value, we have 0. So TA value is also 0 in it. Here, this is 0 and this is 1. So T is equal to 1. And then for another three values, the present state and next state values of A are 1. So that is a no change condition. So we have 0. And here it is 1 and 0. So T is equal to 1. Then similarly with B. So first one is 0. Next you have 0, 1. So 1. Then 1, 1. So 0. Then 1, 0. So 1. 0, 0. So 0. 0, 1. So 1. 1, 1. So 0. And 1, 0. So yeah, 1. And with present and next state value of C, you can see that it is changing in all the cases. So this TC value is 1 for all the cases. Okay. So this is our state table. Now you need to find the flip-flop input equations. So you have to draw K-map for TA, TB, and TC. So A, B, and C. So A, B, and so for TA, we have 1 in this 3 and 7. So 3 and 7. And for TB, you have it in 1, 3, 5, and 7. So 1, 3, 5, and 7. And lastly, for TC, we have all the values to be 1. So directly you can say it is 1, or you can even draw the K map and show it. So drawing the K map. So we will have all ones. So now forming the grouping. So you have TA is equal to BC. TB is equal to C. And TC is equal to 1. Okay. So the diagram for this is like this. Okay. So here instead of A, B and C, actually this is denoted with these values. Maybe you can change it. This is actually my TA. So this corresponds to A. This is TB. So this corresponds to B. And this is TC. So this corresponds to C. Okay. Maybe to differentiate, you denote this clock pulse as CP. Okay. Wow. So first thing what you do is you need to draw all the 3 flip-flops. You can draw it vertically or horizontally. That is not at all a problem. Okay. Then you give the same clock pulse to all the flip-flops. Then what we saw, the least significant value, that is the TC has logic 1 as the input. So that is what is mentioned as 1 over here. You can write it as logic 1 also. Okay. And the corresponding output is obtained. Then for the second flip-flop, that is for TB, we had C as the input. So that is taken to this TB. And for TA, we had B and C. So this is given with the AND gate and given as TA. Okay. This is how we design the circuit. Okay. Wow. Okay. So now let's see furthermore counters. There are many special counters actually. So the first one we see is the ring counter. So as the name implies, you need to understand that it goes or it does some operation in the ring sort of fashion. Okay, wow. So here the first thing you need to remember is this is a circular shift register. So with register, I said it will be storing 1 bit information. So shift register means it is having the capability of shifting the position as and when it receives the clock pulse. The circular shift in the sense the last will come to the first one, that is sort of cyclic fashion. Okay. That's what you need to have in mind now. We will be seeing registers in detail in the next class. Okay. Well? So here this ring counter is a circular shift register and only one flip-flop is set at any particular time. That is the key point here actually. Okay. So how many ever flip-flops you have, we call it as that many bit, that is n bit ring counter. So you are going to have n flip-flops. The main thing is only one flip-flop should have a value of 1. That is, that alone is set. All other values are, all other flip-flops are cleared. So here the initial value is 1 followed by zeros. How many ever flip-flops you have, accordingly you will be having the number of zeros. Okay. And this 1 will be shifted with each of the clock pulse. Okay. Wow? So that is what is shown in this diagram actually. So here we are using shift right. Okay. Wow? The initial value will be 1 followed by zeros. So let us consider 4-bit ring counter. So this is example of 4-bit ring counter actually. Okay. So we are going to shift right. Okay. So I need to change the notations in both of these cases or otherwise it will lead to confusion. I will change it in the slide and upload it again. So this is actually T0, T1, T2 and T3. Okay. So T0, T1, T2 and T3. So this will be the output at each of the flip-flops as soon as it receives the first clock pulse. Okay. Next, as you give the second clock pulse, what happens is this value will get shifted to this one. That is what is shift right. Okay. This will shift over here. And I said it is a circular shift register. So whatever I had in T3, that will be coming to the first position. Okay. The same way this goes on. So this 0 will go over here. Here you get the 1. Here you get this. And the 0 will be coming over here. And then again the same way 0, 0, 1. And this one will come over here. After this, this is going to repeat, which is nothing but the same thing. Okay. So any n bit ring counter will have n distinct timing sequence. Okay. With respect to clock pulse, you will be having only n distinct timing sequence. Okay, wow. That is what is shown over here. These are the corresponding states. Okay. Now, this timing sequences can be generated in two ways. One is using shift register with 2 power n flip-flops. Here, remember the notation given is 2 power n, not simply n. Okay. So, 2 power n timing signals. So, as per the example we saw, the 2 power n is equal to 4. Okay. So the first example we saw also required 2 power n flip-flops, that is 4 flip-flops. That is one type of generating those sequence. The second type is generating it using a counter along with the decoder. Okay. So with n bit counter, we know it can, that is this 2-bit counter will go through the sequence 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0 and 1, 1. That is what this will go through. So this is given as input to the 2 to 4 decoder. Okay. So with decoder, we know if my x, y is, so if x, y is 0, only this T0 will be 1, all other values are 0. If you receive 0, 1, this is T1 alone will be 1, all others are 0. And if this is 1, 0, only T2 will be 1, all others are 0. And for 1, 1, only T3 will be 1. Okay. So, as these are the sequences of a ring counter, you can implement this using n bit binary counter along with the n to 2 power n decoder. Okay. This is two ways of implementing a ring counter. This is just the timing signal shown over here. So here it is again a negative edge triggered flip-flops are used. So whenever a negative edge triggered clock is encountered, so initially T0 alone is going to be 1. With the next clock, T1 alone will be 1. With the next clock, T2 alone will be 1. And in the next clock, T3 alone will be 1. Likewise, this goes. Okay. So this ring counters, you come across this in places where you need to control sequence of operations. Okay. That is, you definitely know after this particular operation, this will happen. After this will happen. Likewise, wherever you have the sequence of operations known, you can use this ring counters to control the operation. Okay, va? So this is the first type of the special counter. So here for K timing sequence, you are needing K flip-flops. So they just started working out how can the timing sequences be increased. So for that purpose, they came with a switch tail ring counter. So with switch tail ring counter, what they did was, the only difference is, in case of ring counter, the last output was fed as such as the input to the first counter. Whereas in case of switch tail ring counter, instead of the normal output, complement output was given. Okay, the complement output of the last flip flop was connected to the input of the first flip flop. Here the initial sequence is considered to be 0. So with the first clock, so here the notation given is A, B, C and E, because D flip flop is used. So we didn't give the D output. So the initial state is 0, 0, 0. So now here the complement of the last flip flop, complement output of the last flip flop is given as input to the first one. So with the next clock, this will be as such shifted. So here E was 0, which implies E bar was 1. So here you will have a 1. Next, the same way, 1, 0, 0. So here again E is 0, so E bar will be 1. Next, 1, 1, 0 over here. Here also E is 0, so E bar will be 1. Next, again 1, 1, 1. Here also E was 0, so E bar will be 1. Now here after this clock, what happens is, the last 3 will be 1. However, here E changed value to 1. So E bar will be 0. Next, we have 0, 1, 1. This is 1. So here you get a 0. After this, again, this will be 0, 0, 1. And here, this is a 1. So this will be 0. After this, as this is a 1, you will be actually coming to the initial state. Okay. So here with this type of setup, for k bit counter, you actually have 2k distinct sequences or states. Okay. That is the thing. You have the difference with respect to this switch tail ring counter. However, here this switch tail ring counter has a disadvantage. That is, due to some error. Let us consider that you are getting into the sequence 1011. I am randomly taking. You don't have this 1011 anywhere here. Okay. So let this be A, B, C and E. So with one particular clock, you are maybe you could say that instead of getting this all 4 ones, this B alone somewhere got some error and got a value of 0. Okay. So what happens in the next clock? So 1, 0, 1 will be there. Here E is 1. So E bar will be 0. Next, if you check, this is 0, 1, 0. So here again, this is 1. So this is 0. Then here 0, 0, 1. So this is 0. So here you have a 1. Next 1, 0, 0. Here E is 1. So E bar is 0. Next again 0, 1, 0. So this is a 0. So you have a 1. With next clock, this is 1, 0, 1 and this is 1. Then with next clock, 1, 1, 0 and this is 1. So this is a 0. Then next clock, you have 0, 1, 1 and this is 1. So this is actually starting to repeat. Okay. So here if you check, this is just for convenience, I am representing the equivalent decimal. This is 11, 5, 2, 9, 4, 10, 13 and 6. Here the sequence is 0, 8, 12, 14, 15, 7, 3 and 1. If you check, none of these sequence actually occurred with the actual state of the particular switch tail ring counter. So the disadvantage is, by some error, if it goes into a invalid state, it will be moving over various invalid states. It will never return back to the normal working of the particular ring counter. Do you understand this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So that is the disadvantage of switch tail ring counter. So we come across another type of counter called Johnson counter. However, this is very much, the functionality, everything is very much similar to that of the switch tail ring counter. Only one thing is, here you will be using AND gates for taking the corresponding output. So how this is given is, so this is the number of, or the sequence of states we saw just now. That is this particular sequence. In the left we are having, right? That is what is this sequence. Okay, 0, 8, 12, 14, 15, 7, 3 and 1. So in case of Johnson counter, what we do is, with the same switch tail ring counter structure, we use 8 AND gates. So how this AND gate functionality is decided is, if you are going to have all the values in the flip-flop output to be 0 or 1, you will be taking the last and first value of the corresponding flip-flop. Okay. So here the last flip-flop and first flip-flop are E and A. Both the values are 0. So this is given as A bar, E bar. And in place where both the values are 1, you have the corresponding output, AND gate required output to be A, E. Okay, va? So if the corresponding sequence or the flip-flop output is having all zeros or all ones, what you do is, you take the corresponding value from the first and last flip-flop as such. So if the value is 0, you will be having A bar, E bar taken as the output. Okay, that will be the value given to the AND gate. And for 1111, you will be having it as AE. Now for the other cases, you check for adjacent flip-flop values where the value changes. Okay. So here with 1000, here this is a 1 and this is a 0. So the corresponding value is A is equal to 1, B is 0. So this is given as A, B bar. Checking this 1100, so this is B is 1 and C is 0. So this is given as B, C bar. And here C is 1 and E is 0. So C, E bar. Here just the reverse of this 2, 3 and 4. So here A is 0 and B is 1. So A bar B. And here B is 0 and C is 1. So B bar C. And here C is 0 and E is 1. So C bar E. So with Johnson counter, you will be having a AND gate structure over here in addition to the switch tail ring counter. So this can be mentioned as plus 2k decoding AND gates or decoding gates. Okay. So that is a Johnson counter. However, the same error is happening over here also. Okay. So what we do is, to correct this, what a possible thing we can do is, the input of the third flip-flop, that is the DC value, instead of directly given as B, that is the previous flip-flops output, what they do is, you give a combination like this. So you take the first and third flip-flops output and give it to a OR gate and AND it with the second flip-flops output. Okay, this is a correcting procedure for this counter being revolving, or when it gets into an invalid state, being stuck on those invalid states itself. This is a correcting procedure for it. Okay. So here, compared to the normal ring counter, the number of flip-flops required is reduced to half, and you also have more timing sequences. Okay. So next, the other counters we have are the divide by n counter, that is modulo n counter. We already saw one example with respect to this, that is BCD counter, that is also called as mod 10 counter. So any mod n counter is a counter that goes through repeated sequences of n states. So if you are going to design a mod 5 counter, this will be going through the sequence 0. So this will be going through the sequence 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Likewise, you should be able to do for any mod counters. Okay. General thing you need to remember is, if you are going to have n flip-flops, it can accommodate up to 2 per n binary states. Accordingly, you should give the number of states or number of flip-flops required is decided based on the number of states. Okay, va? So here with such mod 5 counter, so here we are using 3-bit sequence as the state here. So in this actually 101, 110 and 111 are unused states, right? We did not do anything about it. So when we design such counter, mostly what we do is we write the state table with the condition that if this particular state comes, we will be giving the next state to be don't cast. That is one way of doing it. In some cases, in order to make the circuit function properly, what they do is sometimes they will design it such a way that if this particular state occurs, they will give one of the nearby state with the actual sequences. For example, you can consider if I am coming across the states 5, 6 or 7, you can say that let the next state be 0. You could design it that way. Sometimes they would be mentioning, sometimes we have to look for the correction procedure ourselves. Okay. So that sort of counter we call it as, that is a counter which is capable of getting back to the sequence even if it goes to any unused state, is as a self-correcting counter. Okay. So that is what is said over here. It ensures that when a circuit enter one of its unused states, it eventually goes into one of the valid states after one or more clock pulses. So it can resume normal operation. Unlike the switch tail ring counter, even after those many clock pulses, it was actually getting into unused states itself. Whereas self-correcting counter means it should get back to the normal sequence in 1 or 2 clock pulses. Okay. So we shall see examples for those. Okay. So here this is a counter where you are going through the sequence as so 0, 1, 2, 4, 5 and 6, and then it is going through the sequence like this. Okay. So here the value 3 and 7 are left out. Okay, wow. So here the state table is written for it. So you can see this after 0, 1, 0, you are having the present state value. If the present state value is 0, 1, 0, the next state is 1, 0, 0. And if the present state is 1, 1, 0, the next state is 0, 0, 0. We have left out 0, 1, 1 and 1, 1, 1 from the state table. And using the excitation table for JK flip-flop. So with JK flip-flop, we know if the present state is, if the present state value is 0 and the next state value is 0, it is a no change or reset condition. So 0, 0 or 0, 1. So this is a 0, don't care. And with present state 0 and next state 1, it is a complement condition, that is toggle condition or the set condition. So it is 1, 1 or 1, 0. So it is given as 1, don't care. And for 1 0, it is again a toggle condition or the reset condition. So 1 1 or 0 1. So it is a don't care and a 1. And for 1 1, it is a set condition or the no change condition. So that is 0 0 or 1 0. So don't care and a 0. So comparing the present state A and next state A, with this excitation table, the JA, KA values are filled, and comparing this present state B with the next state B, JB, KB values are filled, and comparing present state C with next state C, JC, KC values are filled. Okay. Now for these JA, KA, JB, KB and JC, KC, you need to find the expression. So that is given over here, and remember this 3 and 7 we are mentioning here as a don't care. Okay, as such you don't have don't care given over there. Maybe you can give it if you wish. Actually here in between you can include this 0 1 1 and give the next state to be don't care. Same way you can include 1 1 1 after this and give the next state value to be don't care. Okay, you can show over here or directly you can put it in the table. So for such cases, the corresponding JA, KA values will also be don't care. That you need to have in mind. Okay, so with respect to that, we have all these expressions and the circuit is drawn for this. Now here in this counter actually, so with this expression, so let us check if my, that is by some error, I am coming to the state 0 1 1. Okay, what is going to be my next state? Okay, ma? So for that purpose, we have this JAKA, JBKB, JCKC. So I have stumbled upon this case. So let us see the values. So JAKA is B. So JAKA value becomes 1 1. JB is C. So again this is the 1 and KB is 1 as such, and JC is B bar. So B is 1. So B bar will be 0 and KC is 1. So with this case, what will be the next state? So this is present state. Let us see what is going to be the next state ABC. Okay. So here present state is 0. JK values are 1. So it is a complement condition. So A value will become 1 over here. And here again JB, KB is 1. However, the present state is 1. So the toggle condition will give me 0. And JC, KC values, I have J is equal to 0 and K is equal to 1, which is reset condition. So irrespective of what value I have in C, this is my next state value. So if suppose the counter gets into the unused state 0 1 1, it is automatically moving to the used state condition 1 0 0. Okay. Similar way, let us check for 1 1 1 also. So for 1 1 1, here again JAKA is B, which is 1. Then JB is C, so that is also a 1. KB is 1 as such in the expression. JC is B bar, so B is 1, so this is 0 and KC is 1. So here in this case, present state value of A is 1, JK value is 1, so it will be complementing, so I get a 0. Here again, this is 1, the present state is 1 and JK values are 1, so that also complements and I get a 0. And this is a reset condition, so 0. So by any mistake, if it gets into the unused state, it is getting back to the used state value. If suppose if this is 0 1 1 and the next state is 1 1 1, it implies it is going and if suppose I get for 1 1 1, I get it as, so if I am getting this to be this and this to be 0 1 1, in that case it actually continues to go between 3 and 7. It will not get back to the used state condition. Okay. However, here this particular counter is actually going through a used state. So we call this as a self-correcting counter. So that is what is given over here. This is the actual state diagram, that is leaving out this 3 and 7 is the actual state diagram of the statement given. However, as we checked these unused state, these are getting back to the used state condition. So this type of counter, we call it the self-correcting counter. Okay. Okay. So with this, we have seen the classification of counters, all those things yesterday. And we have seen the procedure. If you are given with any problem statement or state diagram or state table, you can give a logic diagram for that particular thing. That is the design procedure. So here you are given with some test with your understanding problems. So maybe you can try all of these. And okay, so here I will just explain you one more example. So we shall see a 2-bit synchronous up down counter. Okay, you are having 3-bit synchronous up down counter in lab. Up down counter. Okay, so the 4 states with the problem statement, I am just giving the state diagram for this. So I want the counter to do both up and down sequences. Okay, so let us consider an external input. Okay, so let us consider that to be a control input M. When M is equal to 0, the counter counts up, and when M is equal to 1, the counter down counts. Okay, this is our wish. You can change it. That is no problem at all. So when the input is 0, you have to count up. Count up means you have to count in the ascending order. Sorry, this is 0. And if it is 1 means you need to do the down counting, that is in the descending order. So this is the state diagram for this 2-bit synchronous up down counter. Okay, now let us write the state table for this. So as you are having 4 states, you will require 2 flip-flops. So let us take those to be A, B, and here we have the input, that is the control input as M. So let me write it here. So this is control input, this is the present state, and this is the next state. And for convenience, let us use T flip-flop itself. So the flip-flop inputs are TA and TB. Okay. So I was saying for M is equal to 0, I am going to count up. So for M equal to 0, the present state 0 means next state is 1. 1 means 2. 2 means 3. And 3 means this one. Okay. And when M is equal to 1, 1, we are going to have the descending sequence. So this is going to be, let us take the same way. 0, 0 means you need to have 3. 0, 1 means it is 0, 0. 1 0 means it is 0 1. 1 1 means it is 0 0. Just see here I have written all these in the order 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7. Accordingly I have written this next state. Okay ba? You need to take care while writing that. Now comparing both the A's, we have this to be 0, this is 1 0 1 1 0 1 and this is also a 1. And for TA, we have 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 and 1. Okay. So now finding TA and TB. So TB as such you can say the value is 1. So this is M and this is AB. So 0 1. So TA has value 1 at 1 3 4 then 6 and 7. Here this is 1 0. So this is a 0 over here. Okay. Sorry, I made a mistake. So you don't have, just a minute. So this is a 1 and this is a 0. So you will be having only these things, right? This is for TA and for TB it is all ones. So N, A, and T. So here we have this pair and this pair, which is nothing but M bar B plus M B bar, which can be implemented using a XOR gate. Okay, and here it is all ones. So this is 1. So implementing this either horizontally or vertically, any way you can draw, it is just our convenience. So this is our clock pulse. And for the least significant bit, so let this be TB. This is logic 1. And for TA, this is B. Let this be A. We have this B along with M input XORed, and that is given as input to this. Okay. So this is our 2-bit synchronous up-down counter. So in case of 3-bit synchronous up-down counter, you will be having 4-bit as input. The corresponding flip-flops A, B, C along with the control input. Okay. Okay. So with this, we finish off the counters. Okay. So next class, we shall see registers. Thank you guys.